Hey everyone, it's Alexei Uzas here from Exile Entertainment. In this video, I'm going to explain to you why you don't want or need a producer. Before I start this video, I want to let you know that places have opened up for our Producing Accelerator program that helps filmmakers like you consistently finance and produce their films. So if that's something that you're interested in, you're going to want to stick around until the end of this video. And for the best filmmaking advice, subscribe to this channel and hit the bell to be notified when we post a video. Okay, so let's jump into this. Well, the first thing that you're probably wondering is, why is a producer telling me that I don't want or even need a producer? That seems kind of crazy, right? Well, for the reason that I'm going to explain to you in this video, it makes perfect sense as to why you don't want or need a producer to help you get your project off the ground. Let's start with number one. I have so many filmmakers that come to me that are absolutely fed up with trying to rely on third parties like a producer or an EP to help get their film off the ground. If you're watching this video, it's likely because you're also fed up with being in that situation. You've worked on projects, whether it's short films or trying to get a feature film off the ground, and you've attached a producer or an EP, and they haven't done anything to get the project off the ground. Or what's more likely is they've taken on your project and a bunch of other projects, and now they've got like 20 or 30 films on their slate, which, I don't know, for a lot of producers seems to be something that they're proud about, but I don't know that that's the right way to approach film production in any case. And so you're one of 20 or 30 projects. And what inevitably ends up happening is that your project gets no traction, no momentum. A lot of the time you can't even get a response from a producer by email or telephone. They're too busy, they're on holidays. And so you end up in a situation where you know that you don't want or need a producer because you've already gone down that path. And that's why you're watching this very video. So as a producer, I'm going to tell you why that's the case. So I want you to think about the number of top producers that you know. So those could be producers that you've worked on a short film or a feature film, and they're just absolute guns, like 10 out of 10s. So I want you to think about how many of those you can identify and think about the number that you reach. Then out of that pool of producers, so the top producers that you know, I want you to think about how many of those have actually financed and produced feature films. So it's likely that that initial number that you thought of is now even smaller. The reason for that is that most producers don't even understand film finance. Now, this is a systemic issue, right? The film schools don't teach filmmakers about film finance. So when you get to the end of film school, you have a bunch of great producers that can execute a production, but they don't understand or even have the knowledge to raise finance for a film. So the first issue that you have is just the pool of potential producers that could finance your film is very small. And when there are so many projects out there, so many filmmakers out there, it means that your chance of a producer choosing your project is extremely small to begin with. Okay, so now that we've identified the number of potential producers there are for you to even reach out to who could help you, then we need to examine why it's difficult for you to get one of those producers to pick up your project. As a producer, I can tell you right now that the answer is financing a film is difficult and it's time consuming. So there's only so many projects that you can take on at one time and have a realistic chance of financing and getting into production. So as a producer, once you've worked on a few films and you've started to build up a bit of a portfolio, you want to start working on bigger budgets. You want to start identifying your own IP to go after, and find projects that you think are going to be commercially viable, as well as having critical merit. And so then it becomes something that you're driving more yourself, rather than just going out to try and find filmmakers to work with. And so I can tell you from experience, I typically am only trying to finance one film at a time, where I'm the one that's solely responsible for financing that film, because I know the amount of hours that it takes to raise finance, whether it's private finance or rebates or distribution advances or a combination of everything, which it usually is. So there's only so much time that I have as a producer, and there's only so many projects that I can work on at any one time that are going to gain real traction. And so going back to my other example is, sure, you could find a producer that's going to take on your project, but if they're the type of producer that takes on 20 or 30 projects at a time, then it's going to be very unlikely for more than maybe one or two of those projects to actually get traction in like a 12-month period. And so that's the problem that you face as a filmmaker. It's at first the pool of potential producers is very small. And then even once you identify those right producers, they have their own projects that they're working on and that they're trying to get financed. And so it becomes very difficult for them to invest the time and the resources that are necessary to get your project off the ground. The fourth reason why you don't want or need a film producer is that you can acquire the skills that are necessary to finance and get your film into production. And no one in the world is going to have more drive or more chance of getting your film financed than you. So it's really important that you understand that the skills that a producer has to finance films are skills that you can acquire. These aren't skills that are somehow magical or only some genius can have. These are skills that you can learn. These are skills that you can put into practical application, and these are skills that you can master. And it's important as an independent filmmaker that you take it upon yourself to acquire those skills, because the skills required to finance a film are skills that you're going to need for the rest of your life. There's no point in an independent filmmaker's career where they don't need to rely on those skills in some way. So the sooner that you can acquire them and the sooner that you can master them, the better filmmaker you're going to become. The fifth and final reason why you don't want or need a producer is so that you can control your own creative destiny. So if you want to be able to work on a project and have it gain serious momentum and traction and be able to put a film into production, then there's no better way to do that than for you to be the one that is driving that project forward and not relying on a third party to be the one that is responsible for getting that film up. There's a great quote by Mark Duplass that says, "The cavalry is not coming." And he did a whole video on YouTube about this, and I encourage you to check it out. I'll post it at the end of this video. And as an independent filmmaker, he learned that the cavalry is not coming. There is no time in a filmmaker's career where suddenly a bunch of people show up with checkbooks and start writing away checks for you to be able to go and make your film. So I can tell you now, I've financed and produced 8 feature films, 4 of which I've been a lead producer, and I have 2 more films that are financed and ready to go into production as a lead producer. But on none of those projects has someone come and knocked on my door and written me a check. I've consistently had to go out there and find the finance. And by having control of my own destiny, by understanding the skills that are necessary for film finance, I'm able to continually finance and produce films. So as a filmmaker, it's important for you to have control of your own destiny. And there's no better way to have that control than being able to finance and produce your own films without wanting or needing a producer. Okay, that's it for today. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. Also, if you want to sign up for the Producing Accelerator program, follow the link in the description below. You'll be setting up a one-on-one call with either me or a member of my team to speak about your film, and we'll work out exactly where you're at with it, where you want to get to, and if we can help you through our Producing Accelerator program. Head to our playlist to watch the video by Mark Duplass that I mentioned in this video, and check out these videos next on how to up your filmmaking game.